Welcome, everybody, to the Tiki Freaks Show. We are so excited. My name is Jim. You can call me Rum Bum Jimmy. Next to me, who do we have sitting in the co-host chair?
You got Luke. Cheeseman in Paradise is my tiki name.
Dangerously close to those Jimmy Buffett fans, but we won't go there. But anyways, the reason we're so excited is because next weekend we have let me just throw this right back up. Next weekend, May 4th through the 7th, Stowaways in Paradise, Tiki Caliente 14 out in beautiful Palm Springs. This is the preview show. And we have the man, the myth, the legend right here, the guy that is... Hey, Rory, can you go find... Oh, this is Mr. Rory Snyder, man. This is the guy putting on the Tiki Caliente. Rory, we are so glad to have you. How are you doing?
You know what? Good. You guys are looking awesome since the last time I've seen you. Younger than ever. Things are good, and it looks like it's going to be awesome weather for Tiki Caliente 14.
So I'll just tell people right up front, if you want up to the date information about Tiki Caliente, go to the Facebook page. I think you're posting like daily or every other day videos and information and different things. So if you guys want to make sure you see what's going on, go there. But we're just going to kind of jab a little bit, chat, talk about it. Last year was my first time at Tiki Caliente, and I just couldn't wait to get back. And Cheeseman, I know that this is your first time as well. It's where we first introduce people to the podcast here, the website, the Tiki Freaks, and we've kind of been freaky all year long. So we just can't wait to get back. So, Rory, if you had to just give us just a couple of sentences, a big intro. What's going on and what can we expect and why should people be excited about the 14th iteration of this? And then we're going to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty.
First of all, for a lot of us who've been to the event, it's just a come home. I get to see John Mulder, who's driving down with the mugs from Florida to Arizona, to Tiki Oasis in Arizona, and driving to Palm Springs. Marty Lush, I don't get to see that much. He has 2 kids, a wife, his mom lives with him, his father-in-law lives with them. We're adults now. Marina coming down from Florida, my girlfriend who's doing the symposium on Don Blanding. We were lucky enough to go to San Diego a couple weeks ago to see They May Be Giants and bumped into an old friend, Nick Camara, who used to own Tiki Magazine, and our good friend, Buzzy. And I realized enough time has passed by, we look older, and we are a little older. And the great thing with these events, even if you're new to the event, it's small enough that people want to get to know you. We want to meet new people and get some new energy in the group. And it's still such a diverse topic versus so many other things. Like I've said before, it's like karate. You could start off year one with Tommy Bahama and Myers Rum, and then you get into vintage shirts, better rums, funky rums. But for the event, it's just, it's aloha. I mean, there's a bunch of people around you, Ohana, a new Ohana that it looks like it's going to be in the 80s, which is wonderful weather for Palm Springs.
That's awesome.
650 of your new closest friends at the beautiful historic Caliente Tropics with plenty of places that are walking distance. So if you are going to have some libations, feel free to go next door to Gigi's. There you go. Cheers. Mm-hmm. Feel free to go to Gigi's or Seymour's, that's a Mr. Lyons, or all these great places that are down there. You don't have to stay just with us, but we have plenty of entertainment to keep you on grounds.
But we do have 3 awesome venues right there at Caliente Tropics Hotel. They're pretty awesome. No. Tell us about them real quick.
Well, my 3 bar restaurants on grounds. I was blessed to get the Caliente Tropics as my base of operation for all my jobs. The Reef has been there 6 years. The Reef is our tropical libation sanctuary, which is the tiki bar right next to the pool. That will be closed to the general public the weekend of the event. Great burgers, loco moco, coconut shrimp, the veteran staff. And directly in the same building, across the hallway, you'll have Sancho's, our Mexican restaurant, called Sancho's because we're your secret lover, but Sancho's because it used to be a Sambo's. Yeah. So I used the font of Sambo's, turned into Sancho's. And then we've got our 1970s Fern Bar that'll be open every day at noon versus 4 o'clock when it usually opens, which will have more crafted cocktails of vodka, bourbons, mezcals.
Hey, for folks who don't know, what's a Fern Bar?
Fern Bar, if you go back to, I'll give you a fast history.
Okay.
Back when Tiki was dying, not the fault of Jimmy Buffett, in my opinion, or anything else, everything runs its course.
Yep.
In the early 1970s, women were starting to get divorces and women started becoming independent. They had jobs, they had their own finances. So they started becoming very bright, the business people, to build bars that were comfortable for women. So you'd see places like TGI Fridays, which is a great example. You put ferns everywhere, plants, soften the colors, some Tiffany style lamps. Tiki bars got whitewashed, which is why vintage rattan is so collectible, because most of it got either destroyed or whitewashed. And since it became the place women went, the stereotype back then was to make drinks more feminine, like pink squirrels, grasshoppers. Mai Tais became pineapple-based, softer drinks.
Yeah.
But what happens when a bar is dedicated to women? Guys go.
Yeah.
And everyone, then it's mostly women. The gay population feels comfortable going because they know they're safe.
Yeah.
So it really became the norm with this subtle change from tiki to what became a Fern Bar, a softer version of almost a nautical bar.
I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome. And you can call them feminine drinks all you want, but I like an umbrella in my drink every stinking day. I don't care how feminine it is. All right.
Elvis would never say that.
What'd you say?
Elvis would never say that.
Okay. Hey, I'm gonna throw it over to Luke in just a second. But one thing that I think is cool, the date this year starts, and I'm commemorating it with little Grogu and the Mandalorian. There's a really cool event happening the very opening night. Why don't you tell us about that?
First of all, I got to thank my buddy Brandon, who owns Beeline Creative, who creates those mugs. We met years ago at Tiki Oasis, and I've always been a huge Star Wars fan. And we purposely moved the dates of the events because the weather's been getting a little more dramatic in Palm Springs, and I thought it would be safer earlier on. And opening up Sancho's, I wanted to have Cinco de Mayo, which is May 5th. And obviously May 4th, I was a little worried because Circa is usually my event to do something non-tiki. But from looking at the schedule, everyone made the room parties Star Wars based. My good friend Marty Lush, who's releasing his LP, his real name Mark Riddle, did a beautiful soundtrack of the Mecha Disco Star Wars that's going to play in the Reef, which is the cantina. And Beeline Creative, Brandon Geeky Tiki's, was kind enough to give us 12 of the combos of the mugs you're showing right now. So it's Jabba the Hutt, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name at the moment. Does anyone remember?
I forgot his name. Some of my friends that love Star Wars are gonna just smack me in the head. That's but he was in Return of the Jedi. He was the guy he was Jabba the Hutt's main man. Yep.
And then didn't Boba Fett kill him oh, nice. Didn't Boba Fett kill him in the TV series?
Yeah.
Did,
because I think he's sitting on the crown.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. But the blessing is we've got, I believe, 16 of those that when you get one of our drinks that we made, either, the blue milk or, the Mai Tai, or the Mai Tai Fighter, you'll get a ticket and we'll be calling the numbers and you can win one of those 16 combos.
That's fantastic. Wait, I'm looking up what's the name of this guy. Name of Jabba the Hutt's what do you call it? First lieutenant? All right, I'll find it. All right, Cheeseman, go ahead and we got some cool stuff we want to talk to him about here. Go ahead and start. Let's dig in.
Just before we kind of get into it, like ending of like last year going to this year, where there like different things you're like, maybe let's try this year. You're excited to kind of bring in like at the start of this, or like what was kind of the brainstorming process leading up to this one? Like what would you keep the same, and what did you want to like add new?
By the way, his name is Bib Fortuna.
Thank you.
All right.
Good question. It's been an interesting year for me. You guys will hear it first because I haven't announced it yet, but I won't be doing Circa Caliente this year in October. I've got 5 full-time jobs, and at the age of 50.
What's a few more? By the way, Lily says, "Wow, Star Wars goes great with everything." Thank you, Lily.
But at the age of 50, I had something to prove. I'm going to be 51 in June, so I'm going to drop one of the events. But what you're saying for the event, if you go back, and I love Tiki, and I've been doing it for obviously 14 events, 16, 17 years now. I was one of the people that kind of made it more pop culture. And part of me realizes it's gone too far now, in my opinion. So I made sure this year, even versus last year, I brought in more authentic Hawaiiana bands. We still have some rockin' bands for nighttime parties. But I wanted to make sure we had Hippa Holly, kind of really touched and showed respect to the overall scene, even though it's been Americanized, and that's what Tiki is versus Polynesian. I even notice these days with the art, I love and I collect art, but my eyes gravitating more towards just pure Polynesian art again, and just something that's about the subject matter versus the subject matter with Baby Yoda, even though we're doing May the 4th. So I think it's a combination. I always think of it as Christmas. Every Christmas, I like to watch It's a Wonderful Life because I remember watching with my grandparents that aren't with me anymore.
Same here.
My brother, yeah. So I like the familiarity of the event to feel the same as last year and have some of those bands, so there's not a xenophobic feel to it. And then I like to add some stuff that you feel comfortable, and then you go, oh, here's something new.
Yep.
Awesome.
I do have to just to make one comment there. I love what you said there. I do love the fact that Tiki is kind of, it's got big arms and it does kind of grab a lot of stuff and makes it Tiki. It kind of like things feel Tiki, but we do have to have that anchor, in core Tiki, real Tiki, the stuff that people collected in the 30s through the 50s, the true Tiki sculptures. Otherwise we will lose it. And then, once Tiki becomes, I don't, because for example, I love the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is these days a Tiki creature. It's on our shirts, but and I'm not going to go too far down this. That doesn't really mean that Dracula is a Tiki creature, but we kind of just like sweep them in. Okay, we'll take Dracula. We'll take this.
He is if you name a drink after him.
Oh yeah,
but
I appreciate the drive and the push to say, hey, let's keep some of our roots. Let's keep some of the core Tiki, the stuff that really makes Tiki what it is. I really appreciate that.
Well, the thing I'm noticing is somebody who is a collector myself and going to the Oceanic Arts auction, and I'm lucky enough that I collect Woodco and other things that once in a while somebody will find me, and I've been offered some really significant pieces lately, which one makes me question the overall curve of the Tiki community right now. Is it softening out because it might be at its apex and it's more younger kids? But the people I befriended when I started doing the events were older than me. They're 60, 65 now. And when you're 60, 65, you're actually selling off your collection a lot of times. And that's kind of what's happening is these people are selling off their collection. And for somebody like me, that's very exciting stuff. Ooh, an original Lee tag or like a Woodco lamp you don't see every day.
Yep.
And I just want the younger community to start understanding what this stuff is, because when I collect it, I don't need the pat on the back to go, oh, that's cool, you have it. But it's beautiful. And the stuff the artists are doing now was based off of that. And to see something survive from the 1930s, 40s, or 50s, it's fun. Even with yacht rock, to me, like I said, yacht rock's a real small subject. So I'm even a little bored with it. So I'm starting to go more deep cuts. I don't listen to the music of today. What I end up doing is I listened to Hawaiian bands during that era that did yacht rock kind of Hawaiian albums.
That's cool.
And so there is, I go back. So I find myself going back to the older stuff to be re-inspired, even though with Tiki Caliente this year, artists like James Owens, Doug Horn, Shag being involved, the print release of the August Hollands, which is mind-blowing to have because that's historic, and even the Don Blanding thing. To me, that's the roots.
Yeah. And it was interesting what you said about that. Like, is it softening? I don't think it's softening yet. it could bear some softening, because I was listening to the Desert Oasis podcast the other day, and they had Ken and Heather Pleasant on there, from the Whitco family. And they talked about how they used to be able to drive across the country and stop in any thrift shop, and they could find fines for like 50 cents, 75 cents. But now everybody knows those things are valuable, so the prices are jacked through the roof. So it's kind of interesting. It would be cool to have a little bit of a softening, so people like me that don't have such a deep wallet can start collecting some of that stuff. But
there'll be an apex first, and when Trader Vic became a corporation in the 80s, they became a corporation right at the absolute top, and it wasn't a good time to buy it. Now you got Don the Beachcomber doing it. And Tiki, in all actuality, is supposed to be a little cult.
Yeah.
And when you go to an area like Palm Springs, and you could say there's with Toucan, you could say there's 4 tiki bars within 3 miles. That seems pretty much like we are corporate now.
Yeah.
And the problem ends up being with some of the magazines that come out in Palm Springs, we're not rated as the top places for drinks anymore because we're the norm. We're established.
Yeah.
There's newer places like Bar Cecil opening, and they've got a spin on drinks. So it's just, at some point when we become saturated, I love it because I want to see it all. But at some point, what got us all into it is kind of cult.
Yeah. And a conversation for another time, and maybe I'll talk about it when we get there. But the announcement these past few months about the tiki docks in Florida have taken on, Down the Beachcomber, the branding, and they took Marie from Tonga Hut here in LA. She's going to go there and kind of manage that. But I my fingers are crossed that it becomes something good. But the whole thing about making this chain of restaurants, that the tiki docks are fun, but Florida's idea of tiki, but Mai Kai accepted, and I love Florida. I used to live there. Is anything that just doesn't have walls on it is called a tiki bar sometimes. And I just hope that's not what this is going to be. Anything that, I can see the water, it's a tiki bar. That's not a tiki bar. They put the word tiki bar in everything. And events like what you have, I think, are so important because they do kind of bring the true enthusiasts together and talk about what is the ethos of tiki, what's the soul of tiki, and we just kind of celebrate it. And I don't want to get us off on another tangent, but let's go ahead and go through some of these pictures that Luke has loaded up, and let's see what's going to be going on.
Well, before we do that, let's just can we talk just general things that like drinks, food menus, stuff that's going to be available all weekend. I mean, the foundation of tiki is tiki drinks and creating kind of that vibe. Like, what do we have coming for us?
Well, a lot. So first of all, as a reminder to everybody, if you can, bring cash. There's an ATM on grounds, but you can pay with a credit card, except for the outside mobile bars. But we're sponsored by You Blend It. We're sponsored by Illegal Mezcal, Cutwater. We're going to have pre-batches of Mai Tais, Palm Springs Punch, El Guapo, Bloody Marys, a couple deep cuts in there. If you're lucky enough to have gotten tickets for symposiums, every symposium comes with a drink. So for Adrian's, for the Tiki Tea one on Thursday, there will be a drink based off of Down the Beachcomber Classic cocktail.
Nice.
Since that's where Ray came from. So it's thought out really well. With the pre-batch drinks we'll have a nice assortment of comfortable drinks you already know, or if you want to try something with a little more bite. Like we were working on a drink today with Illegal, blue carousel, pineapple juice, tahini around the rim, lemon juice, which was incredible. We're just trying to figure out if that should be in LaFern or over at the Reef. So Cameron Robinson, my main guy at the Reef, will be making cocktails. He has a great palate. We have some of our friends from the Tonga Hut that'll be helping us out with some of the drinks. So you will have more than enough options. In food, I'm blessed that I get to go there daily. And thank God I'm not heavier than I am, because you're in a building that has, in my opinion, some of the best tacos in town, nachos in town. The mole is incredible. Our burgers, we're still, after 6 years, 5.5, 4.5 stars. LaFern has, tater tots, like tater nachos.
Oh man,
There's
I haven't had dinner yet tonight. You're just killing me here.
and we have plenty of healthy options as well. If you go over to Sancho's, we have a great shrimp salad I had today. Fish salad. We have white fish, burrito. We give you a plethora of options. So if you're coming for a tiki experience, I mean, obviously you're gonna have to get the Loco Moco. I know I'm not saying a burger's tiki, but we've been doing this for so long, the burgers people come in town for. And you guys own the Reef that weekend. It's not open to the general public. So
that's awesome.
Enjoy it.
Okay.
All right. So real quick, the one thing I do want to make sure we hit here, because and we're kind of running up. We just got a few minutes to go. Your tips for the weekend. I think there's 3 main tips. 1, bring cash. There's 2 other big ones. You talked about water and chairs. Can you talk about those real quick?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. First of all, the hotel, for some reason, is pulled a lot of the chairs because they like a more open environment. So I know everyone wants to go out there and enjoy the sun, especially if it's going to be mid 80s. So for your own comfort, if you're driving down, bring a beach chair, fold up one that goes in a little thing, slings over your shoulder just for comfort. Because of COVID and also policies in California have changed. Usually if you go to a hotel these days, if they give you shampoo and all that, they're freshly bottled or they're in these bins that are locked now. Same thing with water. You can't leave water out anymore because somebody could screw with the water.
Yeah.
And if I get everyone sick because somebody modifies it, in the old days, we'll leave the big things out with water. You fill your own. So we brought in cans of water, which are 16.7 ounces, which are called Liquid Death. Stupid name.
No, it's a great name.
it kills your what was it? Quenches your thirst, or it kills your thirst.
No, I know, I agree with you.
Yeah. But we will have them for $2 a can. That's roughly a little more than what we pay for them. Yeah. If it's slow enough and they have time to pour water at the bar, we'll have a thing of water you guys could fill. But if there's lines of drinks, they're going to be making that the focal point. So if you could bring a see-through container with water in it, please do.
Yeah.
A lot of the things I brought up is like last minute stuff. Another one I could bring up because somebody brought up, 3 years ago, one of the band members left their car behind the hotel, didn't lock the doors, and the car got broken into. And it didn't get smashed. The door was unlocked. This event's been going on for 14 years. So assume that people know this is going on and everyone's distracted. Yeah. So if you're staying on grounds, please lock your windows to the bathroom. Keep your doors locked. You don't want anyone sliding through your window or coming in your door because you left it open for friends. And 2, same thing with the cars. Lock up the cars. We will have security. The security's main job is to make sure people aren't in the pool areas, room parties. They can't get into the reef, and just generally keeping everybody safe. But sometimes people get really comfortable and let their guard down. And I want you guys to let your guard down. But bring water, bring cash, bring a beach chair. I don't care if you're fat, skinny, whatever you are. Bring a bathing suit, man. Enjoy it. Yeah. They redid the pool after last year. We closed the pool for a month, which was brutal for business, but everything's brand new. So the water is exceptional.
Wow, I thought you're saying that for different reasons. Not everybody tries to actually wear a bathing. No, I'm just joking. Please wear a bathing suit. Wear something in the pool. No, just kidding.
We love all bodies, baby.
Yeah.
All right, that's hey, we're gonna go through Luke. You've loaded up some photos here. You want to take them through real quick and see if these are events or happenings and that are happening the next weekend. Let's see if you can tell us about them. What's this?
This one is part of the event. Eric, I absolutely love this. As a fan of Tiki Polynesia, to be able to get the August Holland prints, which no one can find. You might be able to find the Pearls of Wisdom one on eBay, used one that has some dinks on it for $300 to $500. But Eric spent 3 years actually finding the printer who originally printed these.
Wow.
They were still sitting in the masters in the one that you showed with the drums. Mm-hmm. That one, if you're a dork like me, I've only seen 2 photos, never seen it in person, the one in the dead center. And it was rumored to sell for over $6,000.
Oh, wow.
Nice. So he's going to have 100 of each one in the full size and in the smaller size, because they made them in 2 different sizes. They come with COAs, but that one and the light within, which is next to it, you didn't see those in the wild. Those are holy grails, up to and including, I've got the ones on each side at the Reef, but the one on the right, which is the light within, back when there was a website called Tiki Central, everyone called that Pele. And we all started believing it was Pele because we all just said it over and over again until somebody found a master print that had the title underneath it. So these things are grails. So to get the rights to have them reproduced in that center one, to get it full-sized with the COA from the original printer, brilliant. John and I are talking about making that into a mug because we've made the other 2 into a mug already.
Nice. And these are exclusive August Holland Tiki print releases by Eric Lucier. Am I saying his last name right? Lucier?
I think he's Lucier. I know he goes by Witch Doctor's Den. He's releasing one at Oasis this weekend, which I believe is the Pearls of Wisdom. He's releasing with us the Fire Within, even though he'll have all 3 available. He's just doing a special presentation on one of them.
Tell us about DJ Lee.
To get DJ Lee, who's been part of Tiki Oasis, is awesome. He lives here up in Yucca Valley. Great DJ. He has an exceptional collection of vinyl, which he's bringing with him. He also owns Dionysus Records, which makes some of the coolest Tiki Polynesian records out there. Actually, for Record Day, I went to a pop-up record store, picked up 4 excellent albums that he released back in the 1990s before I was part of the shows. And he's one of the founding fathers. He deserves a lot of credit.
Very cool. Then Lushy.
Another band Tiki Caliente's never used. Lushy has played Tiki Oasis probably 7 to 8 times. Great bossa nova kind of lounge sets that they do.
Yeah.
They do have a pre-recorded track and they play live with the pre-recorded track. But this adds a little more ambiance at the end of the night, gets us away from the Polynesian Tiki theme, but at the same point keeps us in kind of the Mondo lounge kind of feel.
Cool. All right. And the Dirty Lowdown.
And thank God for them. I just got confirmation because the following week after Caliente, they were scheduled to do an event in Orange County that they just canceled. And when they canceled the set at the Elks Lodge, I got the text saying, hey, are they canceling for you? So I reached out to Giovanni. Giovanni says, no, they're a go for Caliente. And as you can see on the guitar over there, that is my buddy Jeremy Fleener, the original guitarist for Cypress Hill, and also the original owner of the Tonga Hut, Palm Springs, and LA.
Cool. All right. This is kind of interesting. The terrific tropical terry cloth meetup. What is that?
It is what it says. That's not actually officially part of the event, so it's not on the schedule you'll be handed. Okay. But there's a bunch of people who wear, the terry cloth outfits. I've got 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I love that there's people in the scene that come up with something and they want to be at the helm at it. Take some stuff off my shoulders. I'm excited to endorse it.
Well, being there for the first time and noticed that you tended to have like 2 or 3 outfits per day.
Yeah.
Mr. Fancy.
I could give you a sneak peek at part of my newest wardrobe if you want to see it.
Yeah. All right.
I got some different. John Mulder and I have matching, so give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. We're waiting on. Look at. By the way, I love the background he's got there with the wall there and his wall of tikis. That's really cool. While he's gone, let's go ahead.
No, I'm back.
Yeah, he's back.
Look at this. Oh, what is this?
We did, every year John and I get sashes, and matching sashes like the King of Caliente, the Master Mug Maker, and we decided, to save the environment, we'll just have these long-lasting championship belts.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
I got my belt to go with this in my glass.
Oh, wait. Let's hold up your mug for a second. That looks fantastic. And you matches your shirt, everything. Look at that.
This is some good trunks with that to be like Rocky Balboa style.
It's it's just a reason to be stupid. We have fun with it. We take it for what it is. It's a belt granted to me by me. So, you know, I always joke around with Kari that she has to see me walk around with the belt and the belt only. But, and it gives John and I a reason to kind of enjoy these events where we get to sit back at Oasis in the room and be like, you know, one day for Oasis, because it's not my event, but John does the mug for him, we're going to get full body mannequins and we're going to just wheel them into the lobby and like put our outfits on it like we're a display with the belts, like we're some kind of historical, like some stupid. It gives us a reason to talk about stupid stuff.
I love it. I love it. Another event that's happening. This is Saturday morning. The Aloha Kaftan. I always say that wrong. Kaftan Society meetup. That's
another event that's not by me. Love that somebody else is taking the helm of stuff like that.
But one thing that's cool, and this is, we're going to show it even though it's sold out, this really cool Don Blanding mug that was created just for the event. Can you tell us about that?
First of all, my girlfriend, Kari Hendler, who used to be a writer for Tiki Magazine, 10 years ago, when Tiki Magazine was around before Exotica Modern, she did an article on Don Blanding, and it was kind of a deep dive. Don Blanding was a poet from the 1930s to the 1950s. I believe he died in 55. He's from Oklahoma, saw the play Bird of Paradise, and he said, that's it, I'm moving to Hawaii. This guy created Lay Day. He has his own pottery line. If you look him up on eBay, and he's not in almost every book you find of his is signed because he used to go on book tours. So what I love about him in my twisted way is he was a great marketer. But the other two things I love about him, he's been rumored forever where Don the Beachcomber stole his name. Don the Beachcomber's real name's Ernest Gans. Don the Beachcomber, or when you look at that mug, that Don Blanding looks a lot like Don the Beachcomber. And he came around first, and his name was Don. And he had the hat, and he had the mustache, and he was all about Hawaii and South Pacific. So the rumor that he was the original Don is, in my twisted mind, wonderful to release since it's the year Don the Beachcomber is opening up. Is almost like, dude, give cred to where cred should be. And the other thing I love about Don Blanding is, in the world we live in today where everyone's talking about cultural appropriation, he was cultural appreciation. Here's a white guy from Oklahoma who the Hawaiians embraced, and he helped them turn their custom of Lay Day into a national holiday. Cool. Because he loved the culture and he embraced the culture. So his poems drew people to Hawaii. So I kind of want us to get back to the point to realize that we're not all appropriating and beating it, and you need to have enough knowledge to not be dangerous. A lot of this stuff did start in the US and was shipped to Hawaii. So I love that about him. I loved back in the day the dream of anybody, much like Star Wars, Luke, bigger life, he's gonna, you know, join the rebellion. This guy's like, man, I just saw this play. I'm not a big fan of Oklahoma anymore. I'm moving to Hawaii.
Yeah. You mentioned Lay Day.
My boy, John Mulder. This is a John Mulder lay I'm wearing myself. One of the symposiums that sold out really quick. John's bringing down, I believe it's called eyelash lace is the actual material he uses.
Oh, wow.
And I was at the room today where we're doing the symposiums, putting the projector and everything in there. And again, as we talked about at the beginning of this video, I kind of wanted it to be a little more educational. Yep. So we're actually adding more elements. So if you want to be educated, you can. We're not pushing it down your throat. And as we went, before we went on air or whatever, it just popped up on my thing because I just saw a sale. We do have about 5 to 6 more wristbands available. If anyone wants to go on the website and pick them up, those in the symposiums that are left, I have for sale. I added a couple last minute wristbands just because we had some cancellations, and it makes it easier for me because I'm going to have to field the emails anyways. And last but not least for me is I don't have a room on ground. So if somebody knows they can't make the event, I'll take your room off you. I'll give you your name back, and I'll still give you first rights to your room next year.
Look at there.
All right.
In a clerical error by the man who does the events, I screwed up and gave my room away to correct my mistake. So I'll probably be staying at the Motel 6. But if somebody's like, man, I can't make the event, but I don't want to lose the room next year.
There's
Yeah.
always the inflatable octopus in the pool, though.
Well, I was thinking about you. Don't get me wrong. I was thinking about it. Or the symposium room's got a couch.
Yeah.
So you're saying you do have a couple, maybe a couple of last minute cancellations that you might hit. You have some wristbands. Is it what you're saying? Possibly will be gone very soon if they're available, right?
Yeah, there's only about 8 or 9 left.
Oh, that's
So-
hardly any. And did you also have any tickets to any of the symposiums? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. We have 2 symposiums left already. I'm forgetting the names off the home tiki bars.
Yep.
And Jordan from the Oceanic Arts Auction, Peekaboo Gallery, who's also doing a great event in June in LA called Exoticon. That's an event you guys will see me at because it's kind of focusing on the whole weekend of Exotica and how prevalent it is today and the history of it. But his symposium about the OA auction.
Nice. We last 2 things we want to talk about because I won't pull up. And Luke, can you pull up the vendor list? It won't pull up for me. I'm sorry.
Popping up.
Oh, it was. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You want to do any call offs to some of the vendors that are going to be there?
Man, all of it is good. I mean, we really did make sure that we kind of got a mix of everybody. You've got from lowbrow art to traditional style. These days, even when you're looking at tiki mugs, the scene has changed a little bit. So it's all about the higher end mugs these days. So Michael Sabika, who hand makes every mug, he's one of the hot guys. He's been doing it forever, but it wasn't in vogue as much as like the John Molders and stuff. So we got him on grounds. There's supposed to be a sneak peek from our boy, Tiki Rob from Hawaii, who's going to be down releasing a mug with us. He's not on the vendor list, but we're using him as a pop-up with John Molder for the mug collectors, and he paid to vend.
Yep.
The organic jewelry, for people who are into saving the environment, tiki carvers, vendors, sponsors will be there doing taste testing. But everyone we have, even when you, Volfi, some of the art he sent me photos of is incredible. And this is handmade stuff. This isn't stuff that has barcodes to it. So at some point, like myself, trying to go back to a little more authenticity, as we get older, I kind of want stuff that's hand touched by people, actual real stuff versus now that you're seeing corporations understand what we're doing and push on a lot of byproducts. But to actually, get something that's hand done by somebody, that's incredible in this day and age.
All right. Here's a question everybody's wondering about. Can you tell us what you know about the room parties? Look at this, Tonga Hut doing Lost Flight 151 from 19. I just think this is the coolest promotion for a room party. Can you tell us about it?
Sounds like a strong drink.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I've got my costume for it, or my outfit, I should say. Tonga Hut always has, well, I shouldn't say that. They go beyond to do a room party. But this year, because they're a professional bar, and I know the average man can't compete with them, obviously we put them in a different category for votes. I brought back the other big gun, which is Ventiki.
Ventiki's back too.
And Ventiki is huge competition at Tonga Hut because they rip out all the furniture. They had talking tikis last time. Production and their drinks were exceptional. Wow. So Tonga Hut got to walk away free and clear last year because they go there and they have their whole staff building. And they, thank God for Kevin, Claudia Murphy, their new bartender who's on the postcard art. I forgot her name, who's exceptional. They found, which was Marie King's, replacement in the desert. She's incredible.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah.
Wait,
but
Tahine.
Tahine.
Yep.
Yep. She's, I've known her for years, but I love when you see somebody and something clicks in them. Last couple of times I've seen her, she's adult. You see her behind the bar. There's a confidence thing. It's just attractive that you just go, man, that person's ruling this combo. So she's running the roost there. So, I never screw with Kevin Murphy. This is a guy who brings so much to the events. And if you guys are around on Wednesday or any part of the weekend for Caliente, go over to the Tonga Hut.
Yeah.
They do it right. And it's still aesthetically, to me, in Palm Springs, the best looking tiki bar because they're pretty much pure.
Yep.
So I'm proud to have those guys. And I'm proud to have Brian from Zen Tiki Lounge, who's the judge, also throws an exceptional room party and works for Disney and runs all the restaurants at Disney. So he's always just a good host and does a great Sunday, award ceremony. And then the church after that, praise the Lord.
He's got some good bona fides there, bona fides. That's cool. But like because last year to this year, you've really upped the number of room parties. I counted, and it like, well, I mean, I'm not going to go ahead and count them. I've got the schedule in front of me. Like Thursday, the Fourth Awaken at Chulman's Cantina. You also have Ray Boone and the legendary Tiki Tea. Oh, that's a symposium right there. There's the Way Bar, hosts Kevin Rogers and Wesley Martin room party. And then and then it goes late. And then the next day, Friday, bam, bam, 2, 3, 4. It just keeps going on. You guys got a lot of room party. And just so folks know, and I'm sure there's probably a couple of first timers that are coming to this. Room parties are, what's the etiquette for a room party?
Right. Well, first of all, if you've got a wristband for the weekend, it gets you into everything on grounds but the symposium. And they'll get you on grounds Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, vending's open to the general public. So general public will join us. But for room parties, you need to have a wristband. Proper is to leave a tip. Yep. We try to make 2 room parties at the same time when possible to split up the bodies so you're not waiting. We try to also make sure if there's a room party on the second floor, it's the same time as a room party on the first floor.
Saturday night, there's 3 going on at the same time, which is awesome.
Yeah, I try to make the event what I would want. I used to be a financial guy, and I buy stocks that I understand because I believe other people will understand them. When I do a room party or I go to an event, I don't like standing in line. Sometimes there's purists who go, I want to go to a place and they hand batch the drinks. That doesn't work with 650 people. You have the option of it, but I want drinks at my bars ready to turn and burn. So the Reef that weekend is all disposable. You won't get glass at the Reef that weekend. The plates will be paper, which aren't as cool as the actual plates. But it makes it so my dishwasher in the kitchen can also help in the line with food to kind of catch up because I can't hire more people for the weekend. Room parties, kind of the same thing. These people who kind of help build up the event, it takes some stress off of me because they're running it. But they're making you and giving you a drink and inviting you to their room. Just be hospitable. Be kind. Thank them for inviting you to their room. So
I'm so
looking
etiquette,
forward I shouldn't have to explain.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you know what? I'm glad to have you guys back. I'm glad you're bringing some friends.
We are excited. We're going to let you go, but we're so excited, man. This has been so great to have you back on. I know you got stuff to do. You got this little convention coming up next week. You got things to think about. Hey, Luke, do you have any last questions before we let him go?
Yeah, just last thing on the Facebook, it talked about the soundtrack for the weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, one of my best friends and heroes, Mark Riddle, who goes by Marty Lush, I've had him do so many versions of bands with me. He did the Don Who Experience last year. He used to have a band called the Latin Livers with, his hit song, The Girl with Emphysema. He did Brazier 69. He used to be part of Tiki Orchestra on the first 2 albums, which were exceptional albums. Marty also does Quiet Village, the podcast. This album is the best Exotica album I've heard in the last 10 years. Nice. There's a lot of bands out there creating Exotica, Creepzotica, which is Creepzotica, Tiki Orchestra that's doing more of a surf kind of thing too. Still exceptionally good albums. Marty Lush's album, when I say with this album, this is an album you play when you're sitting having a cocktail and just thinking. It's not going to rock your socks off. It's not supposed to. This is kind of like chill music that you're playing in the background of your tiki bar. It's one of those things, it's hard to sell it to somebody because it doesn't have like Running with the Devil, like Van Halen. Yeah. This is something though, when you put
right here in my room here. Yep.
This is something when you put it on, you go, this guy has his chops. He knows his stuff because you hear a song and it's totally original, but you could see where the roots came from.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Rory. Remember, everybody, 3 things: bring cash, bring water, bring a chair that you can bring in. Be very Be polite to the room parties. The wristband gets you into the room parties. You cannot come on and enjoy everything until Sunday out there at the vendors. If you do not have a wristband, he has just a couple of them left, so you might be able to sneak in and get one. Rory, I can't wait to see you. Here's to you, my friend, next week. Cheers and aloha.
My friend, thank you.
We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.